Shalom, Shalum, and welcome. Welcome to those who are drawn by the Almighty Father Yahuah to Yahusha Mashiach. Welcome to those who seek to do the will of the Almighty Creator Yahuah. This is Endtime Reflections. This is the 55th installment. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Symmanayah, and these are indeed the words I believe I am compelled to present before an awakening nation. I say to you, come, hear and listen, O set-apart family. The need to be mindful of how hearing conditions are different and must be made straight in the days ahead. I will present the case why hearing conditions should be discussed, why we should pray about it, and why we should be prepared to go through what is necessary to improve our communications one towards another, to improve our ability to be used by the Almighty Father as He speaks through us one towards another. While I continue to speak on the promised discipline of Abba Yahuah, I cannot stress enough how we must and will begin to recognize all details and processes needed to unite a set-apart nation. My brothers and sisters, though there are those who think things are simple, I submit to you, each of us process communications differently. Believe it or not, it is the Spirit of Yahuah, sent in Yahusha's name, that brings unity and clarity. It is He who hardens and softens the heart. It is He who makes things clear. Before I get into this installment, let me pause for a minute to say this. The views expressed in these podcasts do not necessarily reflect the views of the owners, managers, or shareholders of this media platform. With that said, allow me to present the case regarding hearing conditions, something that I believe we take for granted. I want to present the following. In Mark 4th chapter, verse 23, it says, if anyone has ears to hear, let him hear. We might say that's simple enough, but not so much, and I will prove that in a minute. At least I believe I will. Acts 3, verse 22. Acts chapter 3, verse 22. That was Mark 4:23 that I just read. Regarding if anyone have ears, let him hear. Acts 3:22 says, for Moshe truly said to the fathers, Yahuah, your Almighty One, shall raise up for you a prophet like me from your brothers. Him you shall hear according to all matters, whatever he says to you. Come with me also to Matthew 13th chapter, verse 12 through 15. It reads, for whoever possesses, to him more shall be given, and he shall have overflowingly. But whoever does not possess, even what he possesses shall be taken away from him. Believe it or not, many people don't realize if you can't hear straight, if you can't get the story right, you risk falling down in a position where no one wants to listen to you. What you did have, you marred it up because you didn't get it right. 13th verse says, because of this I speak to them in parables, because seeing they do not see, and hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. And in them the prophecy of Yashar'al is completely filled, which says, hearing you shall hear and by no means understand, and seeing you shall see and by no means perceive. For the heart of this people has become thickened, and their ears are hard of hearing, and their eyes they have closed. Lest they should be with eyes and ears. Lest they should be with their eyes and hear with their ears. Lest they should understand with their heart and turn back, and I shall heal them. My brothers and sisters, I remember once participating in an exercise in kindergarten. It went like this. The teacher would whisper in one student's ear, and then she instructed that student to whisper to the next student beside him or her. I don't remember at the time who was first. But the point is, they was passing a message from one ear to the next, one student to the next, until it completed the circle. By the time the message circled the classroom, the task then became for each student to speak on what they heard. Remember, this subject is hearing conditions. And in most cases, this exercise, when it took place, the message was distorted. In some cases, it was something passed around that was not the correct message in the first place. Children added to it. Some did it to break the chain purposely. I participated in this exercise on more than one occasion. Hearing conditions. It do not just begin with receiving sound, whether literal or spiritual. It requires our ability to understand the sounds that are presented to us. Yashar'al, O set-apart family, the way we comprehend, the way we understand what is being said to us or what sounds are reaching us differ. The sooner we realize that, the more we can become as iron sharpen iron and begin to take measures to ensure that we are interpreting things the same way, that we are receiving information the same way, that we understand the sound in agreement. When we begin to understand our difference, it would be wise to lean on the Spirit of Yahuah sent in Yahusha's name to bring us into unity. Consider John 14:26, of which I speak of often. But the Helper, the set-apart Spirit, whom the Father shall send in my name, this is Yahusha being quoted, he shall teach you all and remind you of all that I've said to you. My brothers and sisters, I am quite aware that I reference this passage all too often. I want you to ask those whom you are in fellowship with, as well as your pastor, moray, teacher, deacon, bishop, elder, and or any other influential person, what comes to mind to them regarding hearing conditions? What are they mindful of as it relates to hearing conditions? Ask them, what do they believe will occur in these last days to unite a set-apart family? Will it not require accurate communications? Would it not require demonstrating improved hearing conditions? Be advised, my brothers and sisters, unity will come, and it will rise before us as discipline during these most humbling times reach our ears, eyes, mind, and spirit. When it reach our face, you see, my brothers and sisters, there are many that are not sensitive to what is happening right now, and won't be until it reaches their doorstep, or their face, so to speak. My brother, my sister, my instructions to you are to have occasionally the person you engage in conversation to repeat what you just said to them. Ask them, what did they get out of what you said? All too often there are many people who will sit there and it looks like they're listening, but their hearing conditions are deceiving. There are those that appear to be listening or hearing, only waiting for you to stop so they can speak, so they can present what they want to say. End times will prove the need for us to actively begin paying close attention to instructions that will rise over the coming days. It is important to pay attention while we can, for there will be times when that opportunity may not be there. Who is aware of Amos chapter 8, verse 11 and 12? It reads, see, days are coming, declares Master Yahuah, that I shall send a hunger in the land, not a hunger for bread, nor a thirst for water, but for the hearing of the words of Yahuah. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from north to east. They shall diligently search, seeking the word of Yahuah, but they shall not find it. You see, there are those with the wrong intentions, buying up books that was printed overseas, saying, oh, this book is old, it's really old, you really got to read this. Many have built up a collection of books, but yet fail to recognize it is the Spirit of Yahuah that open our eyes and ears, that make things known to us. And they put their trust in the text, and they use their text as their armament, void of discerning the power and presence of the Spirit of Yahuah. We see that now, wandering from sea to sea. In the midst of all the noise, in the midst of uncertainty, people are searching for what must and will come to be. They may not put it in that terms. They may just say, I want to know. I want to know. I want to obey. It's easy to say it, but are we willing to go through the processes and details that will make us strong and set apartness? For those of you who have listened to me recently, you may very well know that I speak of the importance of vetting, examining all things as it is instructed to us. Given what I just read in Amos 8:11-12, the time will come when the word will not be readily accessible. I want you to also be mindful of Matthew chapter 19, verse 29 and 30. I've spoken of this before as well. Everyone who has left houses or brothers or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or lands for my name's sake shall receive 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting life. But many who are first shall be last, and the last first. Hearing conditions. What instructions are you hearing? Are you sure he's telling you to leave your brother or your sister or your father or your mother or your wife or your child or your land? He may say that to some. He may say something different to others. This is not a blatant statement saying everybody leave your brother, everybody leave your sister, everybody leave your mother or wife. But it is saying there will be conditions that require such. My brothers and sisters, I cannot stress enough how it would be wise to begin seeking to discern the characteristics of the life in the Scriptures. For example, what do you actually envision as it relates to real life when you begin to read these Scriptures? As it relates to experiencing the things that are connected to what I just read even. Yashar'al, end times will prove that movement is coming. Do you not think that in the midst of all the noise exists set-apart guidance that will bring deliverance from his stronghold? Are you not aware that even Lot, when it came to the necessity, the messenger of the Almighty Father led him and his family out of Sodom and Gomorrah by the hand? Yashar'al, oh set-apart family, one way to improve our communication skills is to be mindful of our hearing methods. We have literal ears, and believe it or not, we have spiritual ears to listen as well. It is time to vet and examine things. It is time to clean house. It is time to purge. It is time to rise up in improvement in our communications. It is time to address our hearing conditions. For there are orders that are going forward, not with a maybe or if. Direct orders. And watch, O Yashar'al, out of the discipline from the Almighty Father, in the name of Yahuah, who sent his set-apart spirit in Yahusha's name, we will witness correction come as migrations begin to ramp up. Let me take a moment and read the following. It's from 1 Corinthians 13:1. He said, though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, and have not charity, I am become as sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. What's our hearing condition, my brothers and sisters? Are we waiting for someone to stop talking so that we can speak? Are we just standing there and interpreting the sounds from Abba Yahuah as sounding brass and tinkling cymbal because we failed to discern? The time is now to know not only how to ensure that we understand what is being directed from Abba Yahuah's Spirit, what he is doing as he works in us and through us, one towards another. The time is now to have these discussions. Give these tests. Don't settle for, what she said, what he said. How many mores, pastors, teachers, bishops, deacons, counselors, elders, how many people of influential positions have took for granted the need to press and challenge and examine whether a person is receiving what they're saying to them or not? How many of them are speaking as led by the Almighty Father and trusting in Isaiah 55:11 where it says his word will not return void? So we don't have to push and hammer, but at the very least, let's engage in conversation to see if the person understands what we're saying. And if not, pray. Pray for the Almighty Father to bring clarity. For in this discipline, it will come. Hearing conditions must be made right in order to respond correctly to what is expected of us. Who is mindful? I speak that each of these podcasts can be linked to a purpose in one of the feast times. And I submit to you hearing conditions. This one runs parallel to the Feast of Trumpets. In Leviticus 23 and 24 says, And Yahuah spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Yashar'al, saying, In the 7th new moon, on the first day of the new moon, you shall have a rest in the remembrance of the Teruah, a set-apart gathering. Some translation will say trumpets. Some will say joyful noise. The bottom line is a sound, a remembrance of a sound of a set-apart gathering. It has its literal meaning, and it has a purpose embedded in it. Meaning, my brothers and sisters, our hearing conditions must be made correct. For what do we hear? Do we hear a joyful sound? Do we make a joyful sound before Yahuah? And what is that sound? What does it mean? Do we shout hallelujah? For what purposes? Are our children looking at us? Are our brothers and sisters looking at us? Are we together making a joyful noise? You see, there will be times of sounds of joy and jubilation where we will recognize the presence of Abba Yahuah's Spirit and make it known. But there's another sound, my brothers and sisters. Remember, hearing conditions. People interpret things differently. There will be sounds proclaiming judgment. And believe it or not, there will be sounds of gathering. There will be the blowing of the shofar, the trumpet, the call to the set-apart awakening nation of the children of Yahuah. Behold, my brothers and sisters, in the midst of all the uncertain noise will rise those who are used by the Spirit of Yahuah to make clear how we are to listen and hear what the voice of the Spirit of Yahuah is saying in Yahusha's name. Be encouraged, O Yashar'al. Be encouraged, O listen to these words. This message found you for a reason, for a purpose. Be encouraged, for hearing conditions are about to improve as it is needed for our redemption that draws near. Until next time, know this, O set-apart nation, consisting of both Hebrews and Gentiles made one by Yahusha HaMashiach. There is much work to be done. The rise of a set-apart family will come. The 144,000 Hebrews, 12,000 from each of the 12 tribes mentioned in Revelation 7, will begin to emerge, along with a great multitude of many nations, kindreds, and tongues, as mentioned in the 9th verse. All too often, many people fail to recognize that there's a joining of 144,000 Hebrews, Abraham, with a great multitude of many nationalities, tongues, kindreds. On that note, I say to you, once again, be encouraged. Our redemption draws nigh. Shalum.